I can send you the recording tomorrow. So going through our sequence, we're looking at the short form and we're going into it in a bit more detail. Today, we're going to look at left hands and look at the qualities of the principles, really, that are the internal principles that are working in that posture. So let's start with some warm-ups. Start with some leg exercises and some warm-ups. Start with the heels together. Feel the feet soften onto the ground, let the muscles in the feet soften. Bring the weight to the center of the foot. So the heels, the ball of the foot, and the outside edge of the foot all equal in weight. Balance the body over the center of the foot. Lift the sternum so you're opening up the chest. Drop the chin so you're raising the back of the neck. Head top straight over the feet. Drop the shoulders so you're feeling the weight of the arms. And let the body settle down. Give yourself time to feel the structure of the body and the muscles softening over the whole frame of the body. Feel any muscle you don't need to support you and let it go. The muscles you need to support you, you can use as little as possible, and the muscles you don't need to support you can release. Sinking. Bring the mind up through the body like a waterfall, like a fountain rising, and let the body come up. Sink the mind down through the body like a waterfall. Let the muscles soften, let the knees bend, the hips seat, the lower back opens. Coming up, the mind rises, the body responds. Sinking down, the mind drops. Make sure the weight stays in the same part of the feet, the knees bend, the hips seat, and the lower back opens. This involves a rotation of the hips. The whole girdle of the hips rotates as we sink. Coming up. Sinking down. Instigate a softening of the muscles. Let the knees bend. Let the hips soften and seat. Let the lower back open. Let the whole body press into the feet. Bring the mind up first, followed by the body. Send the mind down first, followed by the changes in the body. Next time you come down, send the weight to the right foot, opening up. First loosening exercise. One smooth movement across, turning and sinking, settling, rebound. One smooth movement releasing and turning. Finally, when the arms are dropped and you're over the foot and your structure is in place, releasing, settling. So you've got 3 stages to this really. One is movement across, turning. Your weight is moving towards the foot. Your body is turning towards the corner and you're sinking. Those 3 things come together: movement, turning, and sinking. Finally, when your structure is in place, you look for the settling. The final little bit of pressing onto the foot where the pressure in the body increases. And let go and press onto the foot. Rebound. Rebound, the hips turn, the shoulders turn, the arms open up, all the joints open. Posture, beginning posture, release and turn. Finally, at the end, when your structure is in place, release around the structure, press onto the ground. This is where you let gravity press you onto the foot. Rebound. Release, turn, arrive, press onto the ground. Releasing, settling. Releasing, settling. You want to make sure that you arrive in a structure that allows you to settle. To fully settle the body is really, really important. You don't just want to get to a place where you're over the foot. You want to get to a place where you're over the foot in order to finally settle. That settling is an increase in pressure through the whole body, and from it, the rebound. Release, settle, rebound. Release, settle, rebound. Release, settle, rebound. If you move in such a way that you haven't released enough, if you move across and you still have tension in your body, it's really difficult to settle because you have to still release that tension. You want to try and find the place where you're fully released and then settle. I'm just going to put everyone on mute because I can hear some noises going on. Okay. Release, move, settle, rebound. Okay. We're going to use this quality tonight of settling, of finding a posture where we're settled, because the movement we're going to do tonight is moving from single whip into lift hands. And to find that posture well, we have to find our alignment over the foot in order for the muscles to melt around the alignment. The muscles have to melt off the skeleton. The muscles have to feel like they're falling to the ground. We're blending our body with gravity and allowing our body to be moved by gravity. So let's have a look at the posture of single whip to start with. I'm in the center. My center line is between the feet. Let's adopt this posture with the left foot forwards. The fingers on the center line of the body. At the height of the throat, one span to the elbow. The shoulder released, so the arm feels connected. We don't want to be holding the weight of the arm. We want the weight of the arm to be released into the body. That means softening the tension in the middle of the back, so the shoulder blade has got room to drop. Because to put the shoulder in place, the whole shoulder blade needs to sit downwards into the body. To lower the elbow, the shoulder blades need to sit. You have to soften the middle of the body to let the shoulder blades go. Don't think about the shoulder blades. Think about what they're dropping into. The shoulder blades are dropping into the middle of the back. So you have to let them slide down the back. That will lower the shoulder and drop the elbow. The classics say the elbow should be sunk. They don't really tell us how to do that. The classics don't tell us how to sink the elbows. They tell us what to do. They don't tell us how to do it. Then you have all the different training methods from different schools that try to encourage people to understand the classics. So when we work with the muscles more, we can get a sense of what it means to drop the elbows. Some schools will tell you to think about water pouring off the elbow, but this again will be external because the shape of the arm, of course, the shape of the arm lets water drop off, but it doesn't necessarily make the whole arm connect. The whole arm has to connect. So it's a feeling of water dropping, not just the shape of the arm that would allow water to drop off the elbows. In single whip, we want the shoulders, both shoulders connected. Shoulder girdle connected onto the ribs. Feeling that the hips are seated to receive the weight of the torso into the legs. Both knees are pressing down into the feet. The hips are seated, the lower back is open and changing and softening to receive the weight of the shoulders. Okay, so Fred's trying to connect. The changes here in the hips and the changes in the shoulders, both are drawing down together. So when the hips soften, draw down, the shoulders can soften and draw down, sinking. You want to let the whole body act like a beach ball. So if someone was to push on your shoulders, it wouldn't just be your shoulders that would soften and change and receive that force. It would also be your hips, also be a slight bend in the knee, also be a slight softening in the torso. So the whole body acts like the skin of a ball and receives that push straight down to the feet. So you act a bit like a spring between the hands, wherever the hands are touching you, and your feet. Your whole body's changing and sinking. That's the first part of the movement. From single whip, we sink, changing the connection to the front foot. There isn't any movement forwards. The movement is sinking. There isn't any movement of the center forwards. The movement of the center is downwards towards the front foot. Downwards. To make that happen, the muscles in the front leg melt. The muscles in the front leg receive the weight of the body. You don't have to think of moving the center forwards. You just have to soften the front leg, and the front leg will receive the weight of the body. But it's not a lunge forwards, and it's not a change of position. It's firstly just a softening of the thigh, taking the weight to the front foot so that the hips can melt, the lower back can open, and the body feels like it's pressing more connected to the front foot. Practice that for a bit. I'm just going to go and get rid of the dog because he's barking. I'll be with you in 30 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, the dangers of working at home. Okay. When you sink to the front foot, the knee bends, the hips release, the lower back opens, the shoulders start to melt, the body synchronizes, the foot softens onto the ground, the knee presses into the foot to give you support, the hips follow that movement. We want the synchronization taking place so that when we release, when the mind flows through the body responds, the foot softens first, becomes stable on the ground, the knee bends, the thigh softens, the hip seats, the lower back opens, and the whole body finds the front foot. Because the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to shift the weight onto that leg. Okay, so if that leg isn't ready or isn't changing, when we shift the weight onto it, it's going to tighten. The leg wants to be in a condition that is already changing, so that when the weight of the body, and the weight of the body is the torso and the arms, which is probably 2/3 of the weight of the body, moves onto that leg, it's not a big shock for the muscles, and the muscles don't go into reaction. Okay, so when the first movement is to melt the muscles of the leg, while they're melting, while you're finding the front foot, you can move your center onto it, and at the same time turn. So you finish, turn to the corner, stable and released over the foot. There's no weight in your back foot, your right foot. Don't just move over the foot and then look for stability. Try and release first. Once you release, the muscles are already in a condition of change. Then you can trickle the weight in and now move your center towards the foot and turn. So by the time you finish the turn, your weight is 100%. The timing of the movement is as you finish your turn, your weight is 100%. Make sure you're not turned but not released, or 100% but not fully turned. Try and coincide these two things so you're being really accurate with your weight coming into your front foot, finishing the turn at the same time as you arrive 100%. And that stability should feel grounded, relaxed, without the muscles biting. Okay, if you do it the way Taiji is asking us to do, the tendons in the leg won't bite. The muscles in the foot won't bite. The muscles in the leg won't push back against you. The erector muscles in the body won't push back to support your body weight. You'll be receiving your body weight into the leg. So the whole body becomes like a beach ball pressed onto the front leg. Want to make sure this is accurate in the body. So the first thing is find the front leg, keep that melting taking place while you move on and turn. Okay. At the same time as you're 100% in the left leg, you're 0 in the right, just the ball of the foot, and the back foot pivots on the ball. And I'm turned to face the corner. In the form, single whip is facing 9 o'clock. I find the front foot and move on to it and turn. My body's facing 10:30. And I draw the toes in. Draw the toes in. Find the front foot, move on to it and turn. Draw the toes in. Okay, Any questions or observations? Please, you'll have to unmute if you wanted to ask me anything with that. Okay, let's look at what the arms do. The shoulders and arms are following what the base is doing. So the shoulders are melting, releasing. The arms, the hands, are going from this position to this position. So imagine someone's coming towards you, punching towards you. This is their fist coming towards you. Your hand, which is on top, is going to go down and underneath their arm. So the only movement you need is just to circle their hand. That's the only movement you need. So your movement in your hook hand is the fingers dip and come underneath the elbow. They don't do a huge circle down, they just rotate around. Somebody's coming in with a punch. Somebody's arm is coming in towards you. Your hook is, say, at their elbow, and your hand just dips down underneath and circles. That movement of the fingers comes from a rotation of your shoulder. When your shoulder rotates this way, your shoulder rotates this way, your fingers will drop and your hand turns over. How do we get the shoulder to rotate? It's releasing. We don't want to tighten the wrist to move the fingers. We don't want to tighten the elbow to move we want to let the muscles of the shoulder find a new position. The shoulder connects, the hand rotates. So this movement here comes from the whole body sinking, which includes the shoulder dropping, moving, rotating. By the time I finish my movement onto the left foot and my turn here, by the time I finish this turn, the shoulder has also done its movement. This movement into the foot and turning and the shoulder melting is all one movement. The movement of the center forwards, the rotation of the body, the sinking of the body, the settling of the body and the settling of the shoulder gives you the rotation, and the end point is that the fingers move. Let's try that move together. Just the hook hand. First sink to find the foot. Establish that you've got some structure that you can move on to. Sink, turn, release. Draw the right toes in. Single whip, just the hook hand. First, find the stability in your left foot. Fluid in the knee, fluid in the hip, fluid in the lower back. Move on to it. Keep those joints fluid. Soften the shoulder. Turn, finish. Try and time the movement so that it all finishes 100% weight on the foot. Draw the right toes in. Turn to the corner. Finish. 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 Let's talk a little bit about the quality. You'll often hear me say, if you take a break, I'll just talk it through. You'll often hear me say, hold the body as if, so lightly, that as if a wind would blow through the room, the body would sway. Hold the body so lightly, as if a wind would blow through the room and the body would sway. This means that the big muscles that hold the body strong don't need to be operating. The body needs to be balanced slightly on top of itself, with just lightly held, so it's free to change and free to adjust. This is the posture we're looking for when we move into this here on one leg. When I move on to one leg, I'll just move back so you can see my feet. When I move in here, I want to be so lightly held that if the wind would blow, the body would sway. I don't want to be balanced in a way where my muscles are holding me in place. Okay, so if my body is true to alignment, my muscles can be much softer. If my body is held out of alignment anywhere, those muscles tighten to bind me and make me stable. My stability wants to come because my body weight is given up, not because my muscles are meeting my body weight to hold me in place. So my stability comes from letting go. Let's talk about the left hand. The left hand moves with the body. So the left hand essentially stays in the same relationship to the body. It doesn't really move. As my body turns, the hand turns. What only really happens is that it turns from being palm 45 degrees down to palm 45 degrees up. And again, if you think of a fist coming in, that hand is traveling round to be underneath the fist. So my two hands are capturing an arm. You can see in the middle here, an arm would fit in. The fist in one hand. This hand can hold the wrist, come round underneath, hold the wrist. This hand wrapped around the elbow, holding the arm in place. You can see that circle between my hands here. Once I've got the partner's hand in place, with the hands in this relationship, so the fist is closer to the body, the elbow, that's the distance between my hands, is the distance between their wrist and their elbow, held in place. Then I'll turn the body and drop the arm down. That's the next bit. First of all, the first bit, let's do it together. Single whip. Take your time in single whip to establish the structure of the body. Build it up from the floor, the soft feet on the floor, the knees pressing into the feet, the hips are melting, the lower back's opening to receive the weight of the body's square and right in the center. The head top is erect and upright, and the body feels simple. Put the hands in place by connecting the shoulders. The mind goes to the front foot, which activates the muscles, which loosen, which lets your center of gravity find the foot. The structure of the body is there for you. You're going to move on to it. As you turn, your shoulders are dropping. You're dipping your fingers, you're finding your foot and drawing the right in. To finish the posture, you settle and push the heel out. Settle, push the heel out. Settle, push the heel out. Remember the first loosening exercise. I said we were going to bring this into this posture. You move and you release. If you are 95% in the right place, settling is easy. If your muscles and 95% in the right condition, settling is straightforward. If you move and you're out of alignment, or you move and your muscles are held, settling is really complicated. Because first of all, you have to bring yourself into alignment. You have to bring yourself to a place where those muscles are also released, because settling only occurs at the last 5% of releasing is settling. You have to bring yourself into a good alignment. You have to bring yourself into a good state of release, and then you can finally settle. This is when you allow yourself to press onto the ground. You yield, move, and when you're in a good condition, press onto the ground. In this exercise, you move, you yield, you find your alignment, and you let yourself press onto the ground. Have a go, please. Any questions, please ask. Any observations or anything you're feeling in your body that you don't understand, please ask. Don't be in a hurry. Really listen to how your body changes and how you get your support from a different muscle system. Good. Jim, when you turn and move, let your shoulders follow. Let your shoulders follow that letting go. That will let your shoulders rotate and give you the rotation of the fingertips, as if they're rolling around someone's arm. Comes from the shoulders, and the whole body wants to be included in that sink in.
So are we moving across onto the left foot, or are we staying, is the center line of the body just staying in the same place, or is it moving across?
Moves onto the left foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can move onto the left foot. Somewhere between the two. Depends on the timing. Depends on the timing and the type of support you get. And it's a complicated answer. I don't really want to go fully into that answer right now. I will do, but I don't want to do it right now. Try and the simple way, the simple, more easier way is to bring your alignment right over the foot. More complicated way is not to change where your alignment is, to actually stay in the center. That means your support has to be earlier. The buoyancy that you find has to be much earlier and has to be through the whole system of the body before you start turning, which is a more skilled and higher level. And it's better to do something simply well and then develop it than to try and get something that's more complex and it not be so done so well. So I'm going to stay stum on that one and not talk about it too much. Okay, when the body is ready, it'll know how to stay in the center. It's a little bit like the first movement of the form, where we drop onto the right leg, but the body doesn't lean on and use balance on the right leg. A little bit like
Yeah,
that.
it's just that with the grass sparrow's tail, we were staying in the center, weren't we?
Yeah.
I find difficult.
Yeah, if the body's too soft, it will rely on stability from balance Whereas if the right type of musculature is used, you can use the buoyancy, the active buoyancy of the body to stabilize. And then you don't need to use the weight of the body to give you the balance.
Right.
It's a complicated thing to explain, much better shown, and you can feel someone's body doing it and you'll understand it in a different way.
Hi Luke, can I just ask, in regard to the lift hands, you're not actually lifting your hands, are you, in that move?
The hands
Just
the
rotate.
hand drops, the fingertips drop, and then the hand comes upwards.
No.
And this one
Yeah.
turns this way. So no, you're not really lifting, but at the end when there's a slight rebound, there is a lifting of the hands, in as much as the force rises through the body to the fingertips. The force rises rather than the movement of the hands. Okay. So the connections stack up and rise through to the fingertips. So there is a lifting, but it's not an overt movement. It's not a big movement that comes as an external movement of the whole arms going up like this.
Keep.
Keep sinking down, so you can send the intention forwards and out through to the fingertips at the final bit. Once you found the posture, once you found the settling, then you look for the rebound where the body structure takes place and the force comes back through the structure of the body. There's a lot in this move, okay? There's an awful lot in this move. Couple of things I'm seeing, okay? Try not to let the elbows get too close here. Try to keep the arms open with the distance between the elbows and the body here, so that when you come into this position here, there's still this distance and it's still open rather than being narrow. Don't let it be too narrow. Let there be space between the body and the arms. Yeah, it's looking good. That's enough work on one leg, isn't it? Otherwise we'll get big thigh muscles on one side. Okay, let's try and put that into the form so that it's got some context of where it comes from and how we get there. If we go from the beginning of the form up to lifting hands. Take time to quieten down. Feel the feet on the ground. Feel the feet softening. Feel the ankles taking the weight of the body into the feet. The weight's in the center of the feet, the heel, the outside edge, and the ball of the foot. Lift the sternum. Drop the chin, lift the crown of the head. Drop the weight of the arms. Let the body be soft as if a wind would blow through the room. Take the tension out of the body that you don't need to hold the body up. When you're ready, the mind sinks, bend over knees. In the sinking, take the weight to the right foot. Position the left. Turn, move across. Align, settle. Pressure increases and it rebounds. Settle. Use the legs. Use the legs to sink the body, sink the shoulders to draw the fingertips in. Keep the shoulders sinking while the hands drop. Turn. sink to the left, turn to hold the ball, 50-50 posture. Drop the back knee, expand from the back leg, rebound, drop the shoulders and the arms, reach out. Find the front foot, move onto it and turn. Step left, move in. Square, sink, rebound, arms expand. Turn slightly anti-clockwise, move on to the left foot, turning clockwise. Step, move in. Square to 3 o'clock, sink, drop the back knee, rebound, let the hands drift out as you turn to the corner. Square to 3 o'clock, sit back, draw the left hand into the abdomen. Drop the left hand, turn open. 50-50 posture, the wrists touch. Drop the back knee, rebound. Draw back. Drop in. Rebound, fingers expand. Sit away from the fingertips. Turn. Hands on the center line. Drawing the left toes, keep turning and step. Move into the center. Square to 9 o'clock, sink and load the back knee, expand. Find the front foot, move onto it, turning, dropping the fingertips, moving the right toes, sink, rebound. Lifting hands. The posture, lifting hands. All the weight is in the left foot. The right leg, if you swing it straight through, it just misses the left heel. It shouldn't be in front of the foot, it shouldn't be open, it should be narrow. The hands are palm upwards. The fingers of the left look into the right forearm. And they're not open, they're not narrow. There's a nice roundness to the forearms. Palms up at 45 degrees as if they're catching an arm. Can I have a look at your moves, please, from the push? So facing 3 o'clock, right foot forward from the push. Single whip going into left hands. 3 times, please. Okay, Good. Is there anything in that section you'd like to go over? Okay, I'm going to recap one or two important aspects of that movement, just for revision's sake. Okay. From the push, how do we move from the push? How do we move? Well, my legs are like a triangle. When the back leg softens, the body's going to move towards it. When the back leg softens, the body's going to move towards it. When the back leg softens, the flow of movement is towards it. I want to make sure that my center line doesn't drift over my right leg, my left leg. My center line stays true to where it was. And I come 90% into the back leg, 90% weight into the back leg. This is done by melting the muscles of the back leg, allowing the back knee to bend, allowing the hips to seat, allowing the lower back to open as I sit back. So these changes that we practice in the loosening exercise of the knees bending, the weight in the same part of the foot, the hips seating, the lower back opening, we bring into the form. Don't just move back over the foot. If you just move back over the foot, you'll find tightness in the ankle. You need to draw your weight towards your foot. This means instigating the changes in the base, the knee, the hip, the lower back, the melting, dropping of the shoulders. So by the time you sit back, the body's connected. You leave the fingers where they are and you release away from them. So by the time you sit back, your body's found a new connection over the back foot. When you're connected over the back foot and you turn, the whole body moves as a unit. You turn the waist and the whole body moves as a unit. Keep turning as you pass the weight to the right foot until you finish with the weight 100% in your weight, in your right foot, at the same time as you finish the turn. So you sit back, I'm in the left foot, I turn the right foot in, I pass the weight to the right foot and I finish my turn when I'm 100% in the right foot. Let's just do that move again together. Find the back foot, 90%. Turn. Keep smoothly turning as you pass your weight to the right foot. Finish your turn when you're 100% in the right. No weight in the left. One turn, but you're passing your weight from the left foot to the right foot without interrupting that turn. You're passing your weight from your left foot back to your right foot, still keeping this turning exactly the same speed and the same fluidity in the turn. So your weight now is in the right foot and you're turning anti-clockwise. Your weight is in your right foot. As you turn clockwise, You drop your left hand underneath, draw your right hand to a hook. So your hands are moving from this position to this position. From this position, the hook doesn't lift up, the hook stays at the same height. Hands are at the height of the chest here. This happens. This hand drops and goes down underneath the ball. This one folds in here. So I sit back, turn, keep turning. All my weight now is in my right. Turn. Finish the turn. My hands arrive in place. Finish the turn, they're both on the center line. Finish the turn, my hands arrive in place. Got two turns. I've got an anti-clockwise turn. All my weight's on the right, then a clockwise turn. Hands in place. Try and be really accurate so that your turning coincides with when your hands reach the right spot. Okay. Later, there can be a bit of blurring and a bit of wave through the body, but really try and get clarity and accuracy with it at this stage. And then when the body gets more fluid and more loose, it'll have a little bit more play. But we don't want it to be inaccurate and all over the place and led by the arms. Want it to be led by the body. So sit back, turn anti-clockwise. Keep turning anti-clockwise as you pass the weight to the right foot. Turn clockwise, sinking. Next movement, I'm going to turn anti-clockwise. Keep the weight in the right foot, turn anti-clockwise. Keep the hook in exactly the same position as you turn clockwise. Just lift the left hand from below to up. There's a ball here. Just bring the hand around the ball and come up. So all the movement of the hand, the left hand as it comes up and it meets the wrist of the hand with the hook in. This is while you turn anti-clockwise. Keep turning anti-clockwise, draw the toes in of the left foot. Keep turning, step out. As soon as the left heel touches, the hook stays exactly where it is. As soon as the left foot touches, the heel touches, the hook stays exactly where it is. You move away from it. You turn in, you keep the hook exactly where it is. This means the shoulder joint has to open. Sink to drop the left shoulder and expand into the rebound to both hands. Have a look at the move. I'll do it facing this way, so I end up facing you. Turn one, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. Turn clockwise. Hands arrive in the right position. Turn anti-clockwise, lifting the left hand, drawing the left toes in. Keep turning, take a step. Now move away from the hook. The left hand is in line with the center of the body. The left hand stays in line with the center of the body. Left hand stays in line with the center of the body. Sink to load the back leg, the hand turns over. Rebound, the hands go out. Find the front foot, turn onto it, dropping the fingers, bringing the toes in. Sink, compress, rebound, lifting hands. Have a go, put the whole thing together. Last few minutes of the class, the whole from the push. You see, I'm trying to be really accurate with not just the moves, but where they originate from. The principles we're using to move the body. and to get us to really feel that we're connecting the body, not just moving it. We're going to look at the rebound in a bit more detail. In a couple of weeks, when we've got a good posture, when we go into brush left knee twist step, we'll look at the rebound in more detail. Rebound's an interesting bit. Good. Good. Okay. So if you want to unmute for the last couple of minutes, please do. If there's anything you want to ask or anything about your own practice that we haven't covered tonight, but just something about your own practice, anything, give you a chance to check in. That's looking much more focused, let's put it that way. Yeah, what you're doing, everybody looking more focused, looking more clarity in your movements, which is important. Yeah, and when you slow down, when you really feel the changes of the muscles inside, what it really allows you to do is let the body weight rest on the muscles rather than carrying the body weight. And this is a movement from being kind of intermediate onwards, really, when you can stop holding on to your body weight with your muscles and stop controlling your body weight and really let your body weight press into your muscles. And to allow the body weight to do that is starts to give a buoyancy to the body in a different way and starts to let the forces move through the body in a different way. While the body is out of alignment and while the body is held, those forces are going to be impeded. Okay, so those forces that we're looking for. I always use the analogy of the Newton's cradle, which is the balls hanging on, really loosely hanging, just lightly touching. Always use that analogy. The body needs to be that loose and that organized to let the force go through it. But the Newton's cradle is easy to understand as a concept, feeling the connections in the body, feeling the looseness of the body and the looseness of the muscles and the changes that are necessary is the practice. It's the practice we need to find. So we invest in our practice the quality of letting go, the quality of letting our body be simple, letting gravity and organization of the structure be the two kind of like steering qualities of our practice. So if there are no questions, we'll leave it there for tonight, and I will send you the recording tomorrow. Thank you very much. Have a really good week and look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
Thank you.